Welcome to Lighten Your Load, the podcast for busy professionals, where we explore how a deeper understanding of how life really works can help remove the weight of excessive thinking, allowing you to live with less stress, more clarity, and greater resilience. Hello, I'm Peter Field, and welcome to episode 9 of the podcast Lighten Your Load. Today I want to share with you two things that have had probably the biggest impact in my life, which I hope you will find helpful. The first I'm going to call thought recognition. Now, this doesn't mean recognizing what thoughts you have as they flow through your head. It's recognizing the nature of thought. And if you listen to the previous episodes, you'll know that there's a big distinction between thought with a capital T and what we class as thinking. Thought with a capital T is the creative power that gives us the capacity to think. We can't control what thoughts flow into our head. They just seem to come from nowhere. And so when people say, control or manage your thoughts, it's a bit of an impossible task because you have to have the thought and know what it is before you can start to control it, so it's already too late. Thought with a capital T is an impersonal principle, in the same way that gravity is an impersonal principle. We're born into the world and experience gravity, and we're born into the world and we have this capacity to think. Thought recognition is recognizing that thought, together with consciousness, is the only reality that we can ever know, experience, or feel in the world. Thought, together with consciousness, is the cause of all our perceptions and feelings. We discussed this in episode 2, where do our feelings really come from? And contrary to the traditional view, our feelings are not caused by external circumstances. It certainly looks as though external circumstances can create our feelings, but that's not how human beings are designed. And I'm sure there's been occasions where you've experienced different feelings in relation to maybe a person, a situation or an event. And even though that person, situation or event hasn't changed, your feelings have. And that's because the nature of thought is transient. Thought is changing all the time. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to change your thoughts. It's how the nature of thoughts work. I don't know what I'm going to be thinking in 2 minutes' time, 5 minutes' time, 10 minutes' time, and neither do you. When we understand this, it significantly helps us because we realize that if we're in a painful feeling, an unwanted feeling, we actually don't have to do anything to get rid of that feeling. It almost doesn't matter what the feeling is, because if you recognize the nature of thought and you recognize that thought is transient, it will flow through by itself. And this is the big caveat: if you don't engage and ruminate on that thought. The only reason thoughts appear to be solid and fixed is because we keep thinking about the unwanted thoughts we have. So if I have an unpleasant thought, an anxious or fearful thought, there is a natural tendency to think a bit more about it. And when you sort of compile on insecure, fearful thinking on top of insecure, fearful thoughts, it looks very solid and fixed. Whereas if you recognize that thought is designed to flow through you and you don't engage with it, you will find new, fresh thoughts naturally arising. It's been estimated, and I don't know how they work this out, that the average person has, I've heard up to 60,000 thoughts a day. Well, even if it's 10,000 thoughts a day, the vast majority of them flow through without any conscious awareness or any attention given by you. And so that shows it is possible that thoughts will flow through naturally if you don't engage and ruminate on them. Thought recognition is recognizing that we live in the feeling of our thinking, not the feeling of our circumstances. We're not designed to experience circumstances direct. Now, it's important to point out that this is not the same as saying that the circumstance didn't happen. You only have to read the newspapers or watch the news to see that people are facing challenging and very difficult circumstances on a daily basis. So we're not saying that the circumstance didn't happen. The illusion is that the circumstance itself has the power to dictate how you feel. And it's so helpful to see this at a really deep level, because it immediately alleviates so much suffering. Because if we believe that circumstances, people and events are the cause of our unwanted feelings, we feel victimised and powerless. We can't control what other people do or say. And there's times when we can't control the events and circumstances of our life. And so it's very helpful to see that nothing external has the power to dictate how you feel. Circumstances can't create our feelings any more than wearing dark glasses can create light. Human beings are designed to live in the feeling of our moment-to-moment thinking, not our external circumstances. And the second most impactful thing that has been very helpful is knowing that we're connected to a higher intelligence. We're not travelling on this journey of life alone. It doesn't really matter what you call this connection. I like the term spirit. Spirit in this context has nothing to do with religion. It's just recognising that there's an intelligence that's behind everything that happens in life. We see this intelligence everywhere. We see it in nature. What is it that allows an acorn to grow into a massive oak tree? What is it that enables salmon to swim hundreds of miles to return to their breeding ground? We see this intelligence in our body. What is it that keeps your heart beating more than 100,000 times a day and organising the circulation of blood through a system of vascular channels? In the second it takes you to inhale, you lose 3 million red blood cells. But in the next second, the same number is replaced. Literally every second, 100,000 chemical reactions take place in each one of the estimated 100 trillion cells that make up the human body. Moreover, each cell knows what every other cell is doing, and this enables the body to live, breathe and function properly. If we had to consciously manage our breathing, we'd soon be dead. If I've got a shopping list of more than 6 or 7 items, I have to write it down. It's absolutely beyond comprehension, the intelligence required to coordinate all these chemical reactions every second. It's awe-inspiring. And the good news is that not only is this intelligence operational in nature, in our physical body, but it's operational and available to us in our psychological lives as well. What a gift to know that we're not travelling on this life's journey by ourselves. Help is at hand. This available help is summed up in the Course in Miracles when it states, if you knew who walked beside you at all times, you could never experience fear again. So you're not facing life's ups and downs with your own willpower and effort. There's an intelligence available to us, but we have to understand how to connect with that intelligence, and that's going to be the subject of the next episode. So thank you for joining me on this episode, and I look forward to talking with you again very soon. Thank you for listening to Lighten Your Load. If you have enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to the show, and feel free to connect with me on Instagram to learn more about how you can remove the weight of excessive thinking off your mind, so you can live with less stress, more clarity and greater resilience. You can also download part 1 of my book, Lighten your load for free using the link in the show notes. Thank you.